What is going on, guys? Crazy Dan here, and I know I still need to do those trailers or sneak peeks, if you want to say. But today we're going to be reacting to Llama Arts. Okay, Llama Arts, scary stories. Okay. 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 I'm sorry for that weird thing. That was on a commercial. But yeah, and how this thing can be loud. This thing, like, I can barely hear it, but you guys can hear it well. I want you guys to hear my voice as well. If you want to check out some scary stories, then go search LL. I'm gonna hold it up right here so you can search it up, and then come back to the video. Llama Arts, LLAMAARTS. All right, now let's go. Oh, jeez. Let's get right into this. I think we're gonna have to start with Night Shift Story Animated. Alright. I think we're gonna be reacting to 3. So let's go. Night Shift Stories. Alright.
It was 2 years ago. I was called in to do the night shift, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. at 7-Eleven, since somebody called out. The store was located on a busy road in a rather quiet and rural area. During the night shift, you could expect anywhere from 10 to 20 people come in to buy a beer or something else. This one particular night, there was this one guy, mid-20s, that came in. He started making weird noises, like loud yelling noises. I assumed he had some kind of mental disability. In fact, my brother has a mental disability, so I immediately felt sympathy for the guy. He walked up to the counter without any items, with his head facing me, but his eyes were looking up at the ceiling. I felt uncomfortable. I honestly didn't know how to deal with it. I tried speaking with him, but he only responded in loud noises. I kept checking if he was with someone outside, but he was alone. There weren't any cars in the parking lot, so I assumed he walked. He stood there for so long, looking up at the ceiling and making noises, that I tried to get him out by handing him a bag of chips and telling him he can go. I tried finding some kind of number to call for someone to help him. Then, out of nowhere, he finally turned around and walked out of the store. I felt so horrible for the man, but at the same time, I felt a bit creeped out.
Bruh, he looked like a freaking zombie. Dude, he looked like a zombie. Like, what was that? Like, dude. Now, this is creepy. Okay, let's get on to this. If you're wondering how I'm not talking as much, then yeah, I'm just trying to hear. So yeah. I mean, you can barely hear me, while this is going, while you can hear me, so.
An hour later, the phone on the counter rang.
Oh crap, that's not good.
I picked up to hear the familiar yelling sounds of the man from earlier.
How did he get his phone number?
I didn't know what to think, other than this has to be some kind of prank. I hung up on them and was now becoming paranoid of my surroundings, constantly checking the outside through the windows. Come 4 o'clock, the person working after me came in, finally allowing for me to go home. It wasn't my problem anymore. I got home and threw all my stuff on the table, ready to get to sleep. But my phone rang within a minute after entering the door. I felt a chill run down my spine. Why would someone be calling at 4 a.m.? I could only imagine it was bad news. I braced myself and picked up the phone to hear the man again. I felt sick to my stomach as I listened to the loud noises he made. I struggled to slam the phone to the receiver. All night, I felt like I was being watched, even with all the blinds shut. And I could swear I heard strange noises coming from all over my house. I refused to get any sleep until the sun came up. Weeks passed, and I had forgotten about the incident, until one day, when going into the basement for the first time in a while, I found that papers had been scattered all over the floor, and when I went into the basement closet, I found writing on the walls. 7-Eleven had been written in Sharpie on the wall, along with the address to the 7-Eleven I worked at and my house address. The most disturbing part, I also found various kitchen knives, along with a large pocket knife sitting in the closet. What started out as seemingly just an innocent person turning into something of a prank ultimately turned into something much more horrifying. He had been living down there for God knows how long,
No, dude, that is
and
not
I'm just
good.
grateful that, for whatever reason, he changed his mind and left, because I haven't seen or heard from him since. All I can say is that man is dangerously ill.
Now that is some creepy crap, and that I don't like that. I think we'll do one more because we're at like 5 minutes already, so we'll do the Smiling Man. Oh my goodness, the Smiling Man. I don't. Okay. I just opened my door. Okay, Smiling Man. Let's get into this. This is 5 minutes. Okay. Skip the intro.
Who's decidedly not a night
Sorry?
person went to sleep.
Oh well.
To pass the time, I used to go for long walks and spend the time thinking. I spent 4 years like that, walking alone at night, and never once had a reason to feel afraid. I always used to joke with my roommates that even the drug dealers in the city were polite. But all that changed in just a few minutes of one evening. It was a Wednesday, somewhere between 1 and 2 in the morning, and I was walking near a police-patrolled park quite a ways from my apartment. It was a quiet night, even for a weeknight, with very little traffic and almost no one on foot. The park, as it was most nights, was completely empty. I went down a short side street in order to loop back down my apartment when I first noticed him. At the far end of the street, on my side, was the silhouette of a man dancing. It was a
I saw
strange
this one
dance,
before. This is
similar
creepy.
to a waltz, but he finished each box with an odd forward stride. I guess you could say he was dance
What
walking.
happens if you see this
headed
man just
straight
walking
for
down?
me.
I would just be loud,
Deciding
running
he was probably drunk,
away.
I stepped as close as I could to the road to give him the majority of the sidewalk to pass me. The closer he got, the more I realized how gracefully he was moving. He was very tall and lanky and wearing an
I'm
old
gonna see
suit.
this face again.
He danced closer still
I've seen this one before.
until I could make out his
Okay.
face. His eyes were open wide and wild, head tilted back slightly, looking off at the sky. His mouth was formed in a painfully wide cartoon of a smile. Between the eyes of the smile, I decided to cross the street before he danced any closer. I took my eyes off of him to cross the empty street. As I reached the other side, I glanced back, and then stopped dead in my tracks. He had stopped dancing and was standing with one foot in the street, perfectly parallel to me.
Oh my gosh.
He was facing me, but still looking skyward, smile still wide on his lips. I was completely and utterly unnerved by this. I started walking again, but kept my eyes on the man.
Thinking crazy
He
Dan,
didn't
like,
move.
Well, you said this before. I was just scared. I mean, like, it's ugly.
Once I had put about half a block between us, I turned away from him for a moment to watch the sidewalk in front of me. The street and sidewalk ahead of me were completely empty. Still unnerved, I looked back to where he had been standing to find him gone. For the briefest of moments, I felt relieved, until I noticed him. He had crossed the street and was now slightly crouched down. I couldn't tell for sure due to the distance and the shadows, but I was certain he was facing me. I had looked away from him for no more than 10 seconds, so it was clear that he had moved fast. I was so shocked and I stood there for some time, staring at him, and then he started moving toward me again. He took giant, exaggerated tiptoed steps, as if he were a cartoon character sneaking up on someone, except he was moving very, very quickly. I'd like to say at this point that I ran away or pulled out my pepper spray or cell phone or anything at all, but I didn't. I just stood there, completely frozen, as the smiling man crept toward me. And then he stopped again, about a car length away from me, still smiling his smile, still looking to the sky. When I finally found my voice, I blurted out the first thing that came to mind. What I meant to ask was, what the fuck?
I just realized that. Oh, okay. It says a cuss word, so let's skip this part.
Fear. They can certainly hear it.
You heard it a little
I heard
bit,
it in
okay?
my own voice.
YouTube, don't
That
yell
only
at
made me
please.
more afraid. But he didn't react to it at
At
all.
least he didn't hear the
He
whole
just
word,
stood there,
okay?
smiling. And then, after what felt like forever, he turned around, very slowly, and started dance walking away. Just like that. Not wanting to turn my back to him again, I just watched him go, until he was far enough away to almost be out of sight. And then I realized something. He wasn't moving away anymore, nor was he dancing. I watched in horror as the distant shape of him got bigger and bigger. He was coming back my way. He was coming back my way, and this time he was running. I ran too. I ran until I was off the side road and back onto a better lit road with sparse traffic. Looking behind me then, he was nowhere to be found. The rest of my way home, I kept glancing over my shoulder, always expecting to see his stupid smile.
Stupid smile.
But he was never there.
I like that.
I lived in that city for 6 months after that,
Cool.
and I never went out for another walk. There was something about his face that always haunted me. He didn't look drunk. He didn't look high. He looked completely and utterly insane. And that's a very, very scary thing to see.
Okay. Well, we're gonna end it here, guys. I said we're gonna do 3, but yeah, that's too creepy, guys. But yeah, that'll do for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this, leave a like. But if you don't, go thumbs it down and hit that. If you like my channel, go subscribe and hit that bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And leave a comment if you want me to do more of these series. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. And yeah, bye. Can this video end?